How do you build bridges to supersize and grow your business? This is my morning attempt at building a bridge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. And our idiom or expression today, along with the annual challenge, we're coinciding and matching up the Supersize Your Business idioms with the online BU 365-day challenge to make it easier, right? To make it easier and more consistent across the different pieces of content that I am selfishly creating every day. So our idiom, our expression today is to build bridges. And my question for you as we're discussing this topic is, how do you build bridges in your business as you're supersizing and growing your business? This is one of those expressions that's been around since the ancient Roman times when priests and ministers, there was a Latin word, this comes from the Latin word pontifex, which means to build a bridge. It's a bridge builder is the actual definition of the Latin word pontifex. Probably not pronouncing that right, but doing the best I can today. So priest, the highest one in the Catholic Church, then was also considered, pontiffs or bishops in the Catholic Church were considered bridge builder or pontifexes. And this is the Pope is described as the highest ranking member in that particular organization. But their job is to build bridges between their religion or their beliefs and others, with or without their beliefs, right? Their job is to communicate and build bridges. So how do we build bridges in our organization? And why would we even want to? Why do we care? Number one, I grew up in the corporate world. And in the corporate world, the bigger the corporation gets, and I worked for some really giant corporations who I won't name because they were very guilty of this. And even some of the smaller privately held organizations that I worked for had this same effect. And it's called the silo effect. And if you've never experienced it, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you've ever been on a farm there or a granary or something, there's these big giant silos. And in each of the different silos, say at a grain yard or a shipyard, there'll be different types of grain in the different types of silos, but they never mix, right? Well, the same thing happens in big corporations where different functions as a company grows and expands become like their own silos. And I worked for one company where you had to go all the way up to the vice president level before there was any cross communication between the different functions in the business. So between maintenance, engineering, finance, technology, which was really scary, but technology was new back then, information services, we called it, human resources, manufacturing, the different manufacturing products and divisions, you had to go all the way up to the vice president level before anyone talked to one another. And the vice presidents got together and talked and decided and then passed down what would happen in their particular silo. So it was not a very functional place to work, right? It was really hard to get anything cross-functional done. So what were some of the things that we did to eliminate those silos and to make business operations run more smoothly? We did things like increased communication. We set up interdepartmental cross-functional teams. We crafted visions and purpose that was built around utilizing every area of the organization working together, not working for their own goals and objectives. We reduced the competition for budgeting. You know, everybody used to act as if they had to get as much of the budget, the big budgeting pie, because the pie was limited in their minds. And so they had to get as much of it as possible for their department, and it didn't matter what happened in the other departments to them. So we set up common goals and objectives. We set up feedback and systems across the company that brought all of the different departments and divisions together. But it's a really interesting phenomenon, and you can look it up online and read about silos if you've never heard of them. I would say it's best to build our culture and build our organizations from the ground up without creating silos, because silos are pretty dysfunctional. It's like cliques in high school, I guess, is how I would describe silos to somebody that's never experienced them. So what are some ways that we can build bridges to make sure that we're having the communication that we need in our organization, that we're all working toward common goals, that we're all clearly sharing our expectations and communicating with one another, that we're problem solving in a collaborative way instead of a competitive way, that we're setting budgets and goals and objectives in a collaborative way, all moving toward the same common goal versus each optimizing our own functions and divisions. And then we want to also, anywhere we see the us versus them mentality within our organization, we want to be eliminating that. It's okay to have us versus them mentality with competitors and people that we see outside our organization, but in our organization, we want to make sure that we're all one happy family, one big team working together for the same things. So I'd be curious, how have you seen this play out as you've been building and growing your business? Are you making sure that you, as the head of that organization, are the chief communication, chief example setter, chief bridge builder for your organization? Sometimes we end up discovering that we are the biggest problem in our organization or the biggest bottleneck, not necessarily creating what it is that we want. And we have to check in with ourselves periodically and make sure that we're doing the things that we want to do to create the environment and the culture and the business that we want to create. It's easy to get off track, but it's also easy to pull the ship back on course and make sure we're sailing in the direction we want to sail, not just going with wherever the wind blows our sails. Boy, that was a weird mess of analogies. So, curious, how do you build bridges in your organization? I think being yourself, being trustworthy, because that builds trust, communicating openly, sharing expectations, giving feedback, making sure you're clear and people know what to expect of you are all ways to very easily build bridges between yourself and other people and between all the different areas and things that have to get done in your organization. All right, have an awesome day. We're going to talk about relationships all this month. If there's one you'd like to talk about, if there's a relationship idiom you would just love to know the origin of and how we can apply it to our business, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow and I'll just randomly pick one. I think I brainstormed a list of about 100 or so that's plenty to choose from in a 30-day month. All right. Have a great day, and I'll be with you tomorrow.